Hi, this is David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm joined today by our founder, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
It's going good. It's going grizzly.
Well, maybe you need to charge the batteries on
Yeah, I
your
need to charge the
Razor.
battery. The battery in my no, I need to pull the chainsaw thing. We were talking about that earlier. So
All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's see what we've got here today on EV World. All right, let's see here. So we're going to start out today. We're going to talk about NASCAR's EV concept, and I did not do it right. I am still learning how to use a PC.
yeah, we just need to go back to slate boards.
Yeah, well, we could just put a whiteboard back there, and I can draw a NASCAR type car.
I actually remember that, but this is before chalkboards. This was slate boards. Boy, that was ages. That was back when before Elvis started shaking his hips. So
there you go. So NASCAR's EV concept will debut next week. This will make a demo at the Los Angeles Coliseum. It won't race anytime soon, though.
No.
Let's see what we got here. Road and Track shared details in November. A new electric stock car concept NASCAR was developing to explore electrified racing. Well, it won't be quite as loud, that's for sure.
No, and then you don't have to deal with all of the fumes coming off those cars.
The car seems to be near its goal of matching current gas-powered cars on pace at a racetrack. Now, I guess this would be one of my concerns, and this is kind of funny because range is a thing, right? So most of these are 500-mile races. So what do you do to get?
Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting about this Joe Gibbs Racing, because they actually took a Toyota Camry and apparently converted it to electric, and then they were running tests, and they reported 340 laps of testing at on the Martinsville track there, and I think that's Virginia. So, so no, that's a good question, because for Formula E racing, they had a couple of different approaches. Initially in Formula E, they would just simply switch cars. So halfway through the race, as the battery on the car ran down, they would pull into the pit. The driver would jump out of the car, jump in the freshly charged one, and take off. So that's how they handled it. Even before that, there were college teams that were racing Indy style cars. And I got to attend one of those races down in Phoenix. And what they were doing is they had set the cars up so you could do a battery swap. So the car would come in, they would, put it up on whatever, the jack type thing. And then they'd, pull the old battery out, and they'd slide the new battery in, and they'd drop the car back down, and bang, off they'd go.
That sounds like the most obvious solution would be
that would seem to be the most obvious solution. And of course, now we've got, companies, particularly NIO over in China, that picked up on the development work that was earlier done over a decade ago by Better Place in Israel and in Europe to do battery swapping. So you pull on top of this, robotic thing, and it would, go up under the car and unbolt the battery and pull it down, and a new battery would come back in, and they'd put it up, and then it would bolt itself all done. And I think that process took 5 minutes or maybe less. So
that's not practical for NASCAR, obviously.
Well, no, but when but that's everybody has to do that, right? So you still have the competitive thing. You still have the guys obviously racing to get it up and get it out the fastest. And actually, that might lead to some innovations to perfect that technology.
You never know. It could.
Or it could be that they've got these cars that'll do. You got to be happy with. In Formula One racing, they only race for an hour. So whereas the older Formula One racing would go on for several hours. So the Formula E, which is similar open wheel racers to the Formula One cars, except that they're all battery powered. And so it may be that NASCAR takes a similar approach. It'll be interesting to see what they did. So, but at least there's been some experimentation in that area.
So the challenge is making something that's both fast enough to look quick on track and capable of running an entire segment on track at those speeds without losing performance.
Right.
At a reported 340 laps of testing in Martinsville, NASCAR decided the concept was ready to debut. Now, they also mentioned that executive Steve O'Donnell noted that they're also looking into hydrogen, and Toyota is already exploring a sports car, a hydrogen sports car of their own. This should be, should be something, quite interesting to see what comes out of that. I mean, obviously, electric cars are fast, but it's a matter of making it practical because if you were driving an electric car at 200 and plus miles per hour, you're going to drain that battery pretty damn fast.
Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah. You're not going to do 24 hours Le Mans, that's for sure, on a single battery. You're going to have some other strategy. One of the things that's interesting, though, is that this whole racing thing kind of began with Formula E. 10 years ago. I think they're in their 10th season now. And now you've got NASCAR coming along, looking at, not that they're going to race anytime soon. I think they're still pretty well wed to internal combustion engines and things, but they're beginning to think along that line. Then there's Formula E Plus, I think they call it, which is going to be electric boat racing. And those are some pretty cool boats. They've got their hydrofoils and they're very streamlined. And so that's going to start, I think, this year. Then you've got the Extreme, I think it's called Extreme X or Extreme E racing, which basically think of the Dakar, race across Africa with all of that, but all done with electric drive. And I think most of those, I believe, are hydrogen, fuel cell. Just to be clear here, fuel cell, because hydrogen can be used in an internal combustion engine. It can be used in a jet turbine engine, or it can be used to power a fuel cell. In this case, we're talking about fuel cells that are doing electrochemical conversion of, creating ions and so on, things like that. So that's happening. I think that there's been some talk about also now starting electric bike racing, which, I'm assessing that's probably going to be something like, mountain biking on steroids kind of a thing, except with electric assist bikes. So that'll be interesting. All these things help push the technology. I mean, that's why we started racing cars, well over a century ago. In fact, some of the more famous World War I fighter pilots were formerly electric motorcycle and electric car racers.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
I may have a fourth generation Italian motorcycle company CEO come on sometime
that'll be
soon.
interesting.
I'm trying to get that lined up. Yeah, that one, because they're a competitor to Ducati, but they're not cheap bikes. These are like $40,000 motorcycles.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to be able to get something nailed down with that pretty soon. Anyways, let's go on to our next topic. So let's talk a little bit. We've talked about this before. And this one, you should probably lease a new EV instead of buying one. This is from Jalopnik. Now, one of the things is leasing doesn't work for everyone, but one of the things with leasing, so the Inflation Reduction Act brought in all of these rebates, and some of them they get quite confusing. And a lot of it is designed, the rules are designed to give advantages to American manufacturing.
Stimulate American
and we all want that. We want to protect American jobs and all that. The problem is American EV companies really aren't in a position yet, other than Tesla, to really be able to crank out enough product. And even Tesla's not. Tesla has had a few vehicles that have fallen off because they're buying batteries from cattle over in China.
Right.
And so they don't necessarily, if you're just going and, quote, buying the car to be able to get the full rebate. But if you do execute a commercial lease, then the dealership gets the tax credit and they can apply the $7,500 to your vehicle. So this is kind of what they're getting at here. And and this is how Hyundai's been kind of making things work. Hyundai leases 70% of all of their EV transactions. So that's so that people can get the rebates,
Right.
or the tax credits, I should say. So despite a big push from the automakers, electric vehicles are not flying off the lots. The updated tax rules disqualified many EVs from additional savings. And a lot of this is a year ago, these car companies are trying to decide what to bring to market. And part of it is influenced by how consumers are going to use the tax credits. And then they find out now they don't get them.
Yeah.
And this has affected almost all of your EV makers in
Yeah.
in one way or another.
There's only, I just saw a headline, there's only 13 vehicles that still qualify for the $7,500 credit.
Yeah, I think last year we had 12 at one point and it went down to 9. And then this year we had 24 and it went down to 13.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And people might say that leasing is a terrible financial move, but this is a very interesting thing because $7,500 over 3 years is basically $200 a month reduction.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big savings. So most gas-powered cars have terrible lease programs. You're better off buying something. In the EV space, it's different because of how the tax credits pass. Now, and this is under EVs with battery metals sourced from foreign entities of concern. China, North Korea, and Russia will get no federal incentive at all. Now, I've not seen EV materials coming from Russia or North Korea, but China's obviously the
Well,
800
they were,
pound
yeah.
gorilla.
Russia was a big supplier of nickel. I don't think they do a lot in the way of lithium or other rare earths, but they were a huge supplier of nickel, which of course is an important component of a number of different technologies, particularly batteries. So,
well, one thing also, Hyundai just announced that through the end, there's not much month left, but if their vehicle doesn't qualify for the $7,500, they'll take the $7,500 off the price anyways.
exactly. Yeah, they're going to give you a what do they call that? Not a rebate, but it's an incentive, basically.
Yeah, it's an incentive. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. So let's talk about something else because this is kind of interesting because nobody would ever.
One thing before we jump on, though, one thing that makes sense in the lease, I think they pointed out in the article, was that this also helps you not get committed to a certain, for the next 6-7 years, whatever, if you have to buy the car and finance it. It gets you, to take advantage of all of these technological advances we're seeing, particularly in batteries, with that you and Mike talked about yesterday. So there is that advantage that you're only into it for 24 to 36 months, and after that, at the pace at which these the technology is developing, you might get a car that gets another 50% increase in the battery range.
It's interesting because we were talking yesterday about the fact that battery prices are about to they've been plummeting, and they're only going to get
what now, like
cheaper.
$56, something like that, you were saying?
Yeah. So prices at the start of 2023, battery prices were running as much as $124 per kilowatt hour.
Right.
And now they're down to $56. So that's a savings of about 55%.
So now they're 56. Wow, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, and it's expected that by sometime next year, they'll be down to about 35.
Wow.
Or 36. Yeah. So you think about this, you look at how much of a price advantage Tesla has with the Gigapress, and they keep lowering their prices, but part of it is they keep lowering their cost to actually make the cars.
Yeah.
And when you see Lucid and Ford, what's Ford saying? When they make a truck, they sell a Ford F-150 Lightning, they lose $30,000. And Tesla keeps lowering the price of their vehicles, which is hurting the other EV makers. But Tesla keeps figuring out how to do it cheaper. Now, what's interesting is, what is it? GM bought the Gigapress manufacturing company that Tesla gets their Gigapresses from. So that it's kind of fascinating. So GM is cementing their place in the future. These people might like to think that these car companies are stupid. They're not run by fools. Okay. Not going to say they don't make mistakes. And sometimes it's really hard to tell what the market's going to do. I mean, I don't think anybody really ever saw Tesla coming. you know, and or even thought Tesla could be what they are today. And I think people probably said
Yeah.
the same thing about Amazon 25 years ago too. But look where Amazon's at now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Tesla is certainly making their mark. So our next topic: Toyota chairman predicts battery electric cars will only reach a maximum 30% of car sales worldwide. Now, this
And
is
I thought they got rid of the previous guy because he was thinking so parochially. And
yeah.
apparently now, you know, the current gentleman is thinking along similar lines. I just
Well,
I
his
don't
his thought
understand it.
is
So
30% battery electric. The other 70% will be hybrids, hydrogen fuel cell, and
right,
fuel burning cars.
right,
Now, the thing is, what might be a little disingenuous, and of all companies, when you think of who's the leader in hybrids, I think of
well,
Toyota.
oh yeah, no
Without a
question
doubt,
about it.
I think of
Yeah,
Toyota, okay?
yep,
And so I could see that maybe this might be a truth for Toyota because they may still be the dominant player in the world in hybrids in 20 years. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And
So
there's a place for hybrids, definitely.
yeah, because we've talked about this. There's people still haven't figured out easy solutions for people who rent and don't have their own parking space.
Yeah,
And so there's issue there that can all be addressed. There could be a charging station at every parking space in an apartment complex, but that takes a lot of work, right? And that takes a lot of infrastructure. There's a lot of things that have to happen,
and
for that to take
you
place.
got to have the renters, with the electric cars to justify the. It's the old, if you build it, will they come?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
So
even for them, a plug-in hybrid isn't probably the most ideal. A straight hybrid is
right.
probably, the right solution. And eventually things are going to, move around. But I have a hard time seeing this. I mean, one thing, I've heard Elon Musk talk about if today 100% of all car sales were battery electric vehicles, it would probably be at least 25 years before we stopped having,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
we've got well over
gas
what
cars on the
bill a
road.
billion and a half internal combustion engine vehicles out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to take some time. But, one of the comments here is a billion people in the world live without electricity, period.
Yeah.
That's really hard to fathom when, you know, we're here talking about driving a car that's powered by electricity
Right.
and people don't have that. I mean, these people don't have electricity. They probably have outdoor toilets, you know. It's it's
Oh
really
yeah.
a different,
Yeah.
it's really sometimes when you're in a first world country hard to appreciate that the whole world isn't in the same spot. Now, that being said, I keep looking at things like the Aptera, and I've even shown you before where Exeter Fleet, um, they have their little pickup truck and it has solar panels on the roof. Now,
Hmm.
mind you, those solar panels are only probably going to give it 6 or so miles a day
Yeah.
of
Not
driving,
much. Yeah.
but depending on where if you were running the vehicle, say just on your farm, you might almost never need to charge it, because you probably wouldn't drive it around the farm more than a couple miles a day,
Yeah.
just running around in the field and picking up stuff kind of thing. So I'm just saying that there are solutions out there, and I think solar is going to keep getting bigger and bigger. The price of solar keeps coming down, a lot. One of the things, we were talking about the thing with the batteries yesterday. It does seem like battery technology is a lot like where computers used to be 20 years ago, where every 2 years the
Yeah.
personal
The more effect. So Moore's law.
there you go, Moore's law. Yeah, but we're seeing this in the batteries now, and, so every couple of years, the batteries keep becoming more and more efficient, and now they're becoming cheaper. I think it's amazing that they're going down in price. And I don't I kinda wonder if the drop in price is because EV demand really isn't where the battery companies have managed to get to. Because you hear it's like, "Well, there's not enough supply of batteries." But if there's not enough supply of batteries, why would the price drop?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that part doesn't necessarily makes sense to me. There's probably something else going in the background that I don't quite understand. But the world's number one car makers push back against criticism of falling behind in the transition, saying it is pioneering hybrid drivetrains, hydrogen technology, and its holistic approach will ultimately prove to be the right approach for the business, customers, and the environment. Now, what's interesting about that, I've also heard them say they basically need to conserve jobs for people to make gas-powered engines too. Well,
Oh, yeah.
That's a theory. Um, but this is a prediction by Bloomberg. EVs will account for 75% of new car sales and 44% of passenger vehicles on the road by 2040. I think that's a pretty realistic expectation. You know, uh, it's just hard to say where that goes.
Yeah,
Now, my
particularly in the
next,
light of that. Yeah, particularly in the light of that conversation you had with Mike yesterday.
oh yeah,
Where you're trying to would you buy a gasoline vehicle with all of these negative aspects about it, right? Compared to electric. That was I would encourage everybody, if you haven't watched that episode, watch yesterday's episode with Dave and Mike, and it's entertaining. It's really educational.
no, I thought we did well with that one. Anyways, so how Tesla CEO Elon Musk reacted to Toyota's views on electrification. So Elon has a bit of a rebuttal, and Sai wrote in response to the Toyota chairman's forecasts on EVs. And anyways,
That was his single word comment. Sigh.
yeah, single word comment. Yeah, this is what this whole article is about, is him going sigh. Um,
Oh,
the important thing is not to convert to BEV or FCEV. The enemy is CO2. So let's all
yeah,
think about reducing CO2. Now, this is from Chairman Toyota.
right.
Um,
And that's not a bad observation, really. But
yeah, Musk said that he sees electric cars replacing combustion cars as cars replaced horses at the start of the 1900s. We will look back upon combustion engine cars with the same quaint disregard that we currently possess regarding steam engines.
yeah,
And he also is critical of hydrogen, slamming it as a dumb way to store chemical energy.
yeah.
Well, and I'm sure there's some truth to all of that. All right. So our last story for today comes to us from Auto Week, and it's about the best hybrid cars for 2024 and 2025. And we talk about electric cars, we talk about a lot of different things. In this case, their first one is a Honda Accord, $29,000 car essentially. And let's see, it doesn't say if this was just a pure hybrid or if it is. It has. Let me see.
It's probably a gasoline hybrid.
Yeah, it's a 204 horsepower, 2-liter
Yeah.
inline four with two electric motors. So
No,
zero
that's
to
interesting. I wonder how they have those. That I Are
you
they
went quiet,
driving
Bill. Oh, there
each
you go.
one of the front wheels, or is there one motor driving front wheels, another motor driving the back wheels?
That's an interesting thought. I've always kind of admired this vehicle, the Chrysler Pacifica hybrid for a minivan. So
Yeah.
let's see, we got a 3.6 liter V6, which is pretty standard in minivans. They tend to be a six-cylinder, and a 16 kilowatt hour battery. That's really not bad. It says it only goes 33 miles on pure
Yeah,
electric power. That's only
that
2 miles per kilowatt hour. That's kind of limited
yeah. Well,
for
that's
that.
all that it's all that weight of that van and everything.
But once again, 33 mile, you plug it in and you can set it to burn just electricity for your commute, and you
Hmm.
shouldn't need to really go to the gas engine. But it's got 260 horsepower if it's needed, so it's
Yeah,
decent. A 24 Toyota
it'd be a
Prius.
good compromise for a family with a bunch of kids and a reasonable daily commute. So yeah.
The 24 Toyota Prius looks suspiciously like a Tesla Model 3.
Yeah, but boy, I like that car.
No, it's much better looking than the old
Oh
Priuses.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
But
They did.
but
Whoever designed that really did a nice job on it.
you've heard what I'm always saying. When we look at electric cars, it seems like a lot of the manufacturers choose to make them as ugly as possible, for the to distract people from buying those, the inexpensive ones, so they'll buy more expensive cars.
Yeah,
It's
well, that
like,
could be
I and
sort of
this
like
is better looking.
the original origin of planned obsolescence.
Right, right. $29,000, it gets 57 miles per gallon. It isn't quick. Well, we won't worry about that. But that's really not that bad. 0 to 60 in 7.1 isn't crazy slow
Actually,
either.
that's as fast as my electric Fiat. That's
There
not
you
bad.
go. Here we go. The Volvo V60 Recharge. When you think Volvo, if you were going to say one word, what would be your word for Volvo?
Sweden.
One. Oh, see, I was going to say safety.
Well,
I think
sure.
of
Yeah,
safety.
I was going to say safety too, but yeah.
If it was Toyota, what would be the one word?
Toyota, efficiency.
Well, I was going to say reliability is my
Oh,
word.
well, yeah.
Because they're considered to be the, company that has the best quality. But it's interesting. So this here has a turbocharged four-cylinder, 455 horsepower, 523 foot-pounds of torque. That's a
Ouch.
little quicker. That's
Yeah.
4.1 seconds, 0 to
Well, that's
60.
getting
Now,
Tesla range there.
it doesn't, it's a Polestar engineered form and has two electric motors and a turbocharged four-cylinder. So it doesn't give a mention here on the gas mileage on that vehicle, but I'm sure it's an improvement over what the all.
Well, it's probably the 40 mile range,
Most
40
likely.
miles per gallon.
BMW is a company that's done a pretty good job of doing electrification. They've got hybrids and they've got full EVs. This 330e is about 47,000. 2-liter turbo inline four to an AC motor generator, which takes the place of the ZF 8-speed's torque converter. Total output is 288 horsepower. There's another one called the 340i. It might be more enjoyable. Whatever. It
Oh,
doesn't really give much.
it's an M. That's why.
Oh yeah. So it's going to be faster.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Here's a nice looking one. The Lexus LC500H. That's a better look for that.
Yeah, but boy, look at that price tag.
Yeah, well,
Whoa.
Yeah, well, we've had a few inflationary years here lately,
Yeah.
so
Well, I could buy an airplane, a used airplane for that.
you could get a full-size pickup truck for that price.
Yeah, but you can't fly in a pickup truck.
No. Let's see. Let's see what it's got here. It's got a 10-speed auto. It's V6, 2 electric motors, 350 horsepower. Doesn't, it's interesting that this article doesn't give us a lot. Now, this one's kind of disingenuous, okay, because the Corvette E-Ray gets 0 miles per gallon efficiency over the non-electric version, okay, but it does 0 to 60 on 2.5s. So their hybrid is strictly to make it faster. And this one doesn't even talk about the horsepower. These have a lot of horsepower in these for $105,000.
I wonder if you could race that at Le Mans. That would be interesting to see how that would do in one of the Le Mans categories.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, the electric, pairing it with the electric engine made it faster, but it did not make it more fuel efficient at all.
Yeah, who cares at that point?
Right. No, I get that, but that's if you're not.
I mean, I
burning less
care,
fuel,
obviously, but
right.
A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, and Porsche's got a Panamera Turbo S e-hybrid, and has the record for the longest name for a car, which that's kind of nice. At least it's not made by Pininfarina.
Oh yeah, Pininfarina, yeah.
Pininfarina.
By the way, Porsche has just rolled out their electric version of the Macan, so we can expect to see that here fairly soon.
I'd heard that. I haven't seen much about it, but we'll see what we get here. This Panamera has 689 horsepower. It's got a twin turbo V8 and an electric motor. Can travel 20 miles on pure electric at speeds up to 83 miles per hour. And you can get it as a station wagon if you want. That's quite the option there. Oh God. the Mercedes AMG C63 SE Performance. Now, the AMGs have been doing mild hybrids for a while just to help 0 to 60 times. So I'm not sure if that's the case here. No longer has a V8, so it's a 6.3 liter V6. You have a turbocharged four-cylinder. Mind-blowing 469 horsepower on its own. When you combine it with the electric drivetrain, it gets 671 horsepower and 752 foot-pounds of torque. Man, you could tow a boat with that.
Yeah, and no reference to what its fuel economy is.
No, but I think it was the E63 has been like one of the fastest production cars. So I'm sure this is right up there with it.
Well, there's the S63 right there.
Here's the S63, yes. Oh God, 190,000 estimated price.
Well, that's still less than the price of the Cadillac Celeste, so Celique,
yes, it whatever. Is. Let's see what we got here. Ultimate in speed and luxury, a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 and a trick hybrid all-wheel drive systems, stuffing the resulting missile-like propulsion system into a full-size luxury sedan.
Missile-like.
791 horsepower and 1,055 foot-pounds of torque.
Serious
0 to 60 in 3.2. That can keep up with a Tesla.
Yeah.
Up to an electronically limited top speed of 180 miles per hour. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm not going to scroll down. We got to guess at the price. I'm going to say 650.
Oh, 650. I'm going to go. Let's see the price. We're playing The Price is Right.
Yeah.
I'm going 1.3 mil.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 651.
Oh, no. 1.3 mil. Just
okay. The 2024 Ferrari SF90 Straddle or Stradale or Stradale. Oh, 530. Man, we were both over the price. Neither of us gets to take the car home. No, yeah, that's a bargain, Ferrari. I was visiting a place in Arizona, and they had all kinds of exotic cars, and there was a Ferrari that was plugged in. And it was a hybrid Ferrari, and it was about $950,000.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Was that a custom?
No, it was one they were putting out.
Factory electric? Huh, interesting.
Yeah. But it was a hybrid. It was a hybrid. It wasn't full electric. But this one is all-wheel drive, track ready. Instead of V12, it has a mid-mounted twin-turbo V8, a battery pack behind the cabin, and 3 electric motors. Wow.
One on the front and 2 on the front and 1 in the rear, I'll bet.
Yeah. That's what it says. 1 supplementing the V8 and 1 for each front wheel. 986 horsepower, but only 590 foot-pounds of torque. But still gives it 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, making it the quickest hybrid Car and Driver has ever tested. Oh, the quickest vehicle ever. Never mind hybrid. Quickest vehicle they've ever tested.
Yeah, there's the what is it? There's the little one out of Holland or Belgium. The university built one that did what? It was 0 to 60 in 1 second, or slightly less than a second.
Right. Oh yeah.
So this is almost as fast.
Yeah, but they had the 90-pound girl as the driver.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. It was basically a go-kart. Okay. The 2024 McLaren Artura. So I think the prices have been going up on every one. So I'm going back with my original 650.
Okay, I'm going to go 890.
All right, let's see what we get here. What? It went down. $238,000.
Oh my God, we're just blowing.
This is
don't ask me on The Price is Right.
Yeah, this is almost affordable. Okay. It drops the twin turbo V8 for a V6, but adds an electric motor between the engine and 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. A 7.4 kilowatt hour battery. Well, at the current prices, you could get that battery for about $400. Yeah. So that's not a real big deal. It generates 671 horsepower and goes 0 to 60 in 2.6.
Yeah, you know what I think? The battery that size, I think that's for regenerative braking. I'll bet that's because when they started doing the, was it in Formula E? No, it was even before that. They were going with a system where they had a battery in it, and the whole idea was because these Formula cars are they're always braking, and going around curves and things like that.
Right.
That they had this energy recapture, and I forget the name now, what the whole thing was called. But basically, it was just to take advantage of the braking and put that as regenerative energy and put that in a battery, and then they could improve their time, their acceleration out of the turn or out of the the curve or wherever they were to have to slow down. Okay. So I'm guessing that's what they're thinking here. They're not looking to propel this car. Well, you got to go 5 miles. You can go 5 miles in electric.
Yeah, they're not saying
that's not the purpose. No.
So here we've got an affordable Ferrari at only $343,000.
Oh, sign me up.
Poor man's Ferrari right there. The 296 GTB got a 6 kilowatt battery with a 3-liter V6, 819 horsepower. Man. According to the EPA, the 296 can go 8 miles running purely on electric power. Wow, that's
really
8 miles.
Really good. Yeah,
that'll get you. Well, where I live, that'd be all I need to go shopping.
Right.
Let's see. But I could just walk too. So
that'd probably make more sense.
Yeah. So for now, I'm just going to walk. So the Aston Martin Valkyrie, 2024. 3.5 million.
There we go. Now we're talking serious money.
Yeah.
3.5 million.
Yeah. So for all you social media influencers out there with some extra cash flow you don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's a supercar without compromise, a Le Mans racer for the road. It sports a Cosworth V12 that makes 1,000 horsepower and a battery electric system from Rimac. Nonetheless, it adds another 141 horsepower.
Yeah, that's a partnership with Rimac. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Oh, there's still
more. And it sips. What, a gallon an hour, a gallon a mile, or something like that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't think about that one getting any extra fuel efficiency. Yeah. Let me see. Mercedes-Benz AMG 2.7 million is the quickest production car to ever lap the Nürburgring. And let's see what we got. Over a V6 hybrid powertrain making 1,000 horsepower. It can go 0 to 124 in 6 seconds. Top speed
217 miles per hour top speed. Holy crap.
Yeah. That'd get you from here to Lincoln
in 5.3 minutes.
Yeah, it would sure make that drive a little faster.
Yeah, right.
The Bentley Flying Spur hybrid. Oh, wow, this one is all about fuel efficiency, I'm sure. Let me see, 215,000. V6 hybrid drivetrain, 536 horsepower. That's not really a big change for a Bentley. A V8. You're passing on the V8 and W12s. This one has a V6 hybrid, 4.10 to 60, top speed of 177. Man, no review of the gas mileage. Well, that was kind of interesting.
Wow, what we got? 16 of them, boy.
Yeah, it was interesting to see what we got.
From what was it, like 40,000 to
30? We were at 29,000 with that first
29,000 to 3.7 million.
All right. Well, anyways, that's all we've got for today. That was a good show, Bill.
That's enough. I spent a lot of money there.
There we go, man. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening in.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Remember to like the video so that other people get to see it too.